Yes, dear listener, this week we turn our attention to Niamh Regan's brand new album, Come As You Are. Come As You Are is a commanding album about commanding songwriting and a commanding presence. It is hushed yet powerful, delicate yet strong. It is a record that plays with the textures and plays with the hushed tones whilst giving something that commands and dominates the foreground. Niamh Regan's voice is similar to that of a Laura Marling or a Martha Wainwright in that it just takes centre stage, and whilst the music can be vulnerable and delicate and there can be moments within the lyricism of the record that really show a rawness, it never loses the focus and you're never under any other kind of feeling that somebody else is saying these words or that these don't have a meaning. Niamh Regan's music and songwriting really feels like it does have one. Madonna, the opening track, is a tumbling, slow burn of a track, tiptoed in its wording, but as I say, commanding in its performance. Music, the track, is an all-country kind of feel, which, as I said before, kind of calls back to the Martha Wainwright's kind of debut album, songs like Factory or Bloody Motherfucking Asshole and songs like that. It lives within the world of the album. The album itself has that kind of folkish indie feel to it. There's darkness there, there's delicate pieces there, but it's all kind of brought under the one umbrella. It should be said that the production really kind of sets a tone and a mood and a canvas for Niamh Regan's performances to really live throughout. You feel that the words and the things being said within the record have deep meaning because the music in itself has a deep meaning. There's a depth to it. You can almost dive into the entire record and really just get in there and feel the emotions that are being expressed, and either through the vocals or through the lyrics or through the performances and indeed the production itself. Blame kind of plays with that. It's a jagged track that is kind of pointed playing and a little bit more loose hanging and goes more to the kind of Laura Marling-esque kind of feel to it in her kind of later career. It's a song that really kind of shows that there's textures and there's an edge to what Niamh Regan does, that it's not all hushed tones. As I say, she's a commanding presence throughout her own record, which is rightfully so. It's a strong portrait. It's a jagged portrait at times, but there's also things behind it, a depth of feel to it. The album closes with Record, which is probably the most encapsulates the album the best, Come As You Are. It features Soak, also a songwriter, and has kind of dives into the pressures of artistic output, of the expectation of artistic output, of who you are within that artistic output. Are you making music? Are you going back to teaching? How's the career? All of these types of questions that add to the pressure and add to the expectation. It's telling that the record closes on that maybe those questions will continue long past the release of maybe even this record. Will those questions last longer, or have they been resolved? It's open-ended in that feeling. It's an album of great depth, and I keep going back to this in later other records this year, is that sometimes impact can be overseen as something that's loud and abrasive and catches the ear. And yes, that is great when it happens. It's probably the most easiest one to do because the loud voice is heard the longest. But the quieter, more subtle things that are said subtly really do capture the imagination more. And Niamh Regan's Come As You Are captures the imagination because it's an album, as I say, of great depth. The most standout thing about this record is the commanding presence of Niamh Regan herself within the record. She oversees and dominates the entire foreground of the record, which allows you to have this depth of feel that behind it is kind of this kind of blurred, bokeh-esque kind of picture. A self-portrait, if you will, that kind of feels like it was done late night with like grainy film and kind of, you know, twinkling lights in the background. It's a brilliant record, and I would very much recommend that you go and find and seek this out, because Niamh Regan is a hell of a songwriter and is really seeming to come further into her own as she kind of stands into that commanding presence and also works within a production that allows that to live and breathe even more. I would highly recommend that you check out Niamh Regan's new album, Come As You Are.